Hello and welcome back or welcome to the channel. I'm Loudguns and today we're going to be doing a quick tour of the brand new Apollo from RSI. This is going to enter the verse as the top tier medical vessel when 4.3.1 goes live. And while there's plenty of drama around medical beds and gameplay at the moment, I personally think it's a really cool design. So if this sounds good to you, grab a cup of tea while I roll the intro, then let's get into it. As ever, while I love to check out a new ship or two when they hit the game, I'm in no way providing a you should or you shouldn't go out and buy this ship for real cash recommendation. I believe you're adults and you can choose what you do with your own money. Forgive me if this isn't your first rodeo, but I do think for any new or prospective players out there, it always merits recapping that ships when they come out usually have a 3 to 6 month exclusivity window for the people who paid hard cash for them. Then they hit the in-game shops and can be earned just by playing. So all you need to have fun in-game is a starter ship and a game pack, but it's cool to know what's out there and what's coming up. If you are creating an account, just be sure to use a referral code when you sign up for some extra starting money. Mine's the one up on screen, but if you've got friends who play already, just ask them for theirs. And speaking of that, the Apollo's not something I personally own, so a really big thank you to my friend Ravnak for letting me borrow this one for the tour. So let's start with the hardware. The Apollo comes in two variants, the Triage default red paint and the Medevac default white paint, and the two are incredibly similar. Other than the paint jobs, there are a couple of points of difference in terms of pitch and yaw rates, and the Medevac carries a boosted missile complement of 16 to the Triage's 8. But otherwise the two are identical. All components are size 2 or medium, and you're packing 4 shields, 2 power plants and 2 coolers, along with the QT, jump and radar modules. In terms of weapons, there are a pair of size 4s under pilot control, and a remote turret with dual size 3s. This seems to slave to pilot control when not being operated by the co-pilot. QT fuel capacity of 4.35 SCU on the Triage and 4.5 SCU on the Medevac is decent, meaning that with the stock Odyssey drive you're looking at around about 280 GM of uninterrupted quantum travel, and if you upgrade to a top tier XL1 you'll be getting over 400 GM. So let's go ahead and take a little bit of a walking tour. So we'll go enter up the back ramp. There are 2 entrances onto the ship and we'll show the second one as we come to it. So up a nice sturdy ramp. And one thing I like, which they seem to have adopted from the Cutlass Red, if we do the sort of closing of the doors, you'll see that we've got an airlock as well as the ramp itself. I think that speaks to the sort of medical containment element. Then we step forward into a rather spacious cargo hold, and off into one of the nacelles. So in here we've got some of the engineering components, we've got weapons racks and suit lockers, and we've got an additional small cargo grid. This could be really useful for storing extra things like extra med gel. And this really repeats over in the other nacelle, but here we've got the added complement of the engineering station. But then the main showstopper of the ship really is its medical modules. It's worth noting that these are modular and can be exchanged in the vehicle loadout manager. So you have 2 modules. This is both equipped with the tier 3 types, so we've got 3 of the weakest tier 3 medical beds. You can then exchange these so you can have 2 tier 2s or 1 tier 1. And these can be operated independently of one another, so you can have 1 tier 1 and 3 tier 3s. It'll all depend on what you want. These medical modules have their own bathroom, and they've got lots of nice little features, like I really like those refrigerators. And up on the right you'll just see there, we've got the rack which can be used to store additional med gel. Ravnak's just having a little sleep over in the bed, so we'll head on forward. A feature which has been adopted from one of the more advanced Connies, the Phoenix, that skylight, and that is a really nice feature. It's cool to see ships where in the rear of the ship there's windows so you can actually see where you are. In this midsection we've got a lot of the additional component access, and then we move forward to what I think is a really nice bridge. Here we've got sleeping for the crew 2 crew, got a little seating area, and we've got some additional washroom facilities and cooking facilities. And then we've got the seats at the front for the pilot and the co-pilot. This is also where you've got that second entrance exit, where we've got a nice neat little elevator. We can just use that to get off the ship. It's got this cool clear glass surround, which looks really awesome, particularly when you see somebody leave the ship. So all in all, I found myself liking the Apollo more than I expected to. Medical/respawn dramas aside, I can see it just being a really strong daily driver competitor for the current game. It's got the fuel tanks for decent range, a reasonable chunk of cargo space, convenient storage options, and onboard medical facilities. If you add to that the convenience of entry directly into the bridge, great pilot visibility and room on board for friends, you've got all the makings of a really great runabout. Where it obviously suffers versus the likes of the Connies is in its combat capability, with limited firepower and fairly weak shield arrays for a ship of this size. But if pew pew isn't really your thing, and particularly if you steer instead towards either FPS missions where respawn capabilities are really useful, or indeed medical gameplay, then this could really appeal. Medical gameplay is the elephant in the room though. I'm somewhat more sanguine about the changes to respawns than others seem to be. With the new medical gel, I'm still going to call it green goo by the way, adding a cost to spawning from a ship. Ultimately a finite cap on respawns. I think this was always the way I expected things to pan out, but I can understand the issues that people have with any addition of inconvenience given the game's current state. Creating a cost of death though does potentially reinvigorate the need for medical rescue. Adding a price to respawning might inspire some folks to stick up a beacon rather than just hitting backspace. But ultimately I still don't think this is likely. 50k per respawn might seem like a chunk of change, but it's really nothing when you get going in game. And for something that's not likely to happen all that often, it's unlikely to discourage folks from sticking a nurser in the back of their daily driver to act as an emergency option for when they get taken down during an FPS mission. So more pressing I think would be the introduction of medical rescue missions. I think it is interesting that the splash art of the loading screen for 4.3.1 hints at a shortage of paramedics amidst the regen crisis. I really hope this is hinting at NPC-driven medical rescue mission types, as opposed to just being an excuse to advertise the Apollo. Ultimately, I think that if CIG want to create a proper profession out of medical rescue, then they'll need to missionize it. I'm not sure if that's a word, but I hope you get me. One final thing that it does particularly highlight to me is the maybe a wider problem with some of Star Citizen's ongoing ship development. As evidenced by the endless when questions that get thrown at John Crew and the rest of the ship design team at every opportunity, many folks are desperate for their ship to be next. But in reality, you kinda want the opposite. Whichever ship CIG make last is gonna be their greatest. As many of you will know, I've got an extra special soft spot for the RSI constellation. I made an entire video about how it's the ultimate jack-of-all-trades ship. But just a brief amount of time walking around the Apollo made me just a little bit woeful about my beloved Connie Taurus. Just seeing all the shiny interior details and the way the ship is just put together made me think about how good a Connie could be if it was made now. Arguably even just a variant of the Apollo chassis, but with more of a lean towards cargo over the medical modules. I just hope that if such a rework were to come to fruition, that CIG would make it an upgrade to the existing ship rather than a Mark II, as we've seen more recently with the Hornets. But maybe this is wishful thinking on my part. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the tour. Let me know what you think of the Apollo down in the comments, and if you think I've earned it, please do hit the like and subscribe buttons to stay tuned for more as we head into the new patch. But with all that said, thanks for watching to the end, and I look forward to seeing you next time.